Somewhere in your city, a guy in a $110,000 SUV just handed the keys back to the dealer for pennies on the dollar, and he has no idea that he basically gift wrapped it for you. The luxury SUV market runs on a cruel secret. The badges that cost a fortune new bleed value faster than almost anything on four wheels. Rich buyers chase the newest thing, dump last year's model, and eat a five-figure loss without blinking. That loss is your gain. Today, I'm counting down 6 overbuilt luxury SUVs, engineered like tanks, sold like status symbols, now sitting on used lots for a fraction of their sticker. Number 1 will shock you. Let's get into it. Number 6, Audi Q7. Let me start with the one that scares people the most because it's the one you have to be smartest about. The Audi Q7 is one of the steepest depreciating luxury SUVs in America. First-generation models routinely shed 50 to 57% of their value inside 5 years. A 2022 Q7 that's stickered around $58,000 new, you can find them now around $25,000 to $33,000. That's a lot of German engineering for Kia Telluride money. And here's the part most buyers don't know. The Q7 rides on the Volkswagen Group's MLB platform, the same fundamental architecture that underpins the Porsche Cayenne, the Bentley Bentayga, and the Lamborghini Urus. You read that right. When you buy a used Q7, you're buying a cousin of a Lamborghini for the price of a family crossover. The chassis is genuinely overbuilt. The Quattro all-wheel drive system is bulletproof. The optional rear-wheel steering makes a 3-row tank feel like a compact in a parking lot. So why is it so cheap? Because complexity cuts both ways. That first-generation 4.2-liter FSI V8 is a beautiful engine, but it hides its timing chain guides and tensioners at the back of the block, meaning if they wear, the labor to reach them is brutal. Carbon buildup is a known issue on the direct injection engines. Air suspension, cooling components, electronics, all of it ages, and all of it is priced like Audi. Here's the mechanic math. Buy the right Q7, one with a thick folder of service records, ideally the later 3.0 supercharged or turbo V6, low miles, off a lease, and you've got a $58,000 luxury SUV for less than half. Buy a neglected one because the price looked good, and you've got a money pit with heated seats. The depreciation isn't the trap. The service history is the whole game. Get that right, and the Q7 is one of the best luxury values on the road. But if you want overbuilt engineering that actually goes fast, this next one used to cost as much as a house down payment. Number 5, Porsche Cayenne. The Cayenne is the sport utility vehicle that saved Porsche as a company, and today it's depreciated into territory that borders on absurd. The performance versions, the ones that once wore 6-figure price tags, now trade for the kind of money that used to buy a base Camry. The original Turbo S packed a 4.5-liter twin turbo V8, making 521 horsepower, with a claimed 0 to 60 of 4.8 seconds. That's genuine sports sedan pace in a vehicle that can tow and seat 5, and it's now within reach of a normal person's budget. Underneath, the Cayenne is a serious piece of engineering. It shares that VW Group DNA with the Q7. It corners far better than a 2.5-ton sport utility vehicle has any right to. And the build quality is Porsche grade. This is not a soft roader. It's overbuilt in the truest sense. Now, I'd be lying to you if I didn't wave a giant red flag here, and this is exactly the kind of straight talk that separates a bargain from a disaster. The early first-generation V8s, roughly 2003 to 2006, are landmines. They have plastic coolant pipes buried under the intake manifold that go brittle and can dump coolant onto a hot engine in seconds, a failure that starts around $2,000 to $4,000 and can spiral past $8,000 if it cooks the motor. Those same early 4.5-liter V8s can also suffer bore scoring, where the cylinder walls get scored and the engine slowly eats itself. A full replacement can top $20,000. Repair Pal, for what it's worth, rates the Cayenne dead last among luxury midsize sport utility vehicles for reliability. So here's how you win. Skip the early cars, target 2008 and up when Porsche moved to the 4.8-liter V8 and largely left the coolant pipe nightmare behind. Get a pre-purchase inspection from a Porsche specialist Not optional, mandatory. Budget for tires, brakes, and an oil change that costs more than you'd like. Do that, and you're driving a genuine Porsche for the price of an economy car. The badge alone is worth the price of admission, but the engineering is what keeps you coming back. Speaking of engineering that's cheaper than it looks, this next one hides a dirty little secret under all that leather. Number 4, Cadillac Escalade. Everyone knows the Escalade as a rapper's driveway ornament and a chauffeur's best friend. What they don't know is that underneath the diamond-stitched leather and the acre of chrome, it's basically a Chevy truck, and that's exactly why it's such a smart used buy. The Escalade shares its bones with the Chevy Tahoe, the GMC Yukon, the Suburban, and the Silverado pickup. Same platform, same legendary 6.2-liter V8, making 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, same body-on-frame toughness. And because millions of those trucks exist, parts are everywhere and they're cheap. That's the paradox of the Escalade. It carries a luxury badge, but it repairs like a work truck. Try getting that combination out of a German nameplate. On depreciation, the Escalade sheds roughly 58% of its value over 5 years. But here's the interesting wrinkle. It actually holds up better on the used market than most of its luxury rivals, because demand for it never dies. The street cred is real and it's durable. The 4th generation trucks, 2015 through 2020, can be found under $30,000 now, and you're getting the same fundamental V8 muscle, the same towing grunt, and the same limousine-sized interior as the newer ones that still command $45,000 plus. There's even a clever engineering detail buyers overlook. The 6.2 has a limp home system that lets it run on half its cylinders if it loses coolant, so a cooling failure doesn't automatically strand you or grenade the motor. That's the kind of overbuilt thinking you get when a luxury SUV is built on truck architecture designed to survive abuse. Who should buy it? Anyone who wants a genuine, full-size luxury 3-row that won't bankrupt them at the repair shop. Big families, people who tow, anyone who's tired of paying German prices for German parts. The Escalade gives you the presence and the plush without the ownership terror. It is, quietly, one of the most sensible flex purchases you can make used. Now, if the Escalade is the truck in a tuxedo, this next one is pure German precision, and it's selling for a fraction of what it should. Number 3, BMW X5. The X5 practically invented the idea of a luxury SUV that could actually drive like a sports sedan, and a quarter-century of refinement means the used ones are staggeringly good value. A clean X5 xDrive 40i today can feel like a genuine bargain. Real substance behind the badge, a silky inline 6 or a muscular V8, and a chassis that still embarrasses most rivals on a winding road. Want to hear something that'll make your jaw drop? The E70 Generation X5M, a full-blown M-Division performance SUV that costs close to $90,000. When new, now averages around $14,000 on the used market. 14 grand for a twin-turbo, 500 plus horsepower super SUV wearing the same M badge as an M3. That is depreciation doing something almost unfair to the person who bought it new and almost too generous to the person buying it now. The X5 is overbuilt in the way Germans do best, obsessively engineered, tightly screwed together, and designed to be driven hard for a long time. The steering, the brakes, the way it settles at highway speed, you feel the money that went into it even years later. But, and you knew a but was coming, depreciation lowers the purchase price, not the cost of German luxury maintenance. That's the single most important sentence in this entire video. A well-kept X5 is a joy. The wrong one will remind you very quickly that BMW parts and BMW labor don't care that you got a deal. Cooling systems, electronics, suspension bushings, gaskets, these age, and they add up. So the strategy is identical to the Q7. Buy the history, not the price. Find one owner who babied it, kept every receipt, and did the maintenance on schedule. Get it inspected by an independent BMW specialist, not the corner lot. Budget a cushion for upkeep and treat it as the cost of admission to a genuinely special driving machine. Do that, and you're piloting one of the best engineered SUVs ever made for the price of a base economy sedan. We're down to the final two, and this is where Overbuilt stops being marketing and starts being literal. These next two SUVs weren't just built well, they were built to outlive their owners. If this is helping you shop smarter, hit subscribe because I've got more videos breaking down exactly which luxury cars are worth the risk and which ones will ruin you. Number 2, Infiniti QX80 and the QX56 that came before it. Here's a number that should stop you cold. According to a 2026 IC Cars study, the Infiniti QX80 is the single worst depreciating vehicle in its class, losing an average of 62.8% of its value over 5 years. In raw dollars, that's about $52,000 of depreciation evaporating off one SUV. For the original owner, that's a financial gut punch. For you, it's the deal of the decade. Because here's what that badge is hiding. The QX80 and the QX56 it was called before 2014 is built on the bones of the Nissan Patrol, one of the most legendarily indestructible off-roaders on planet Earth, a truck that's crossed deserts and continents for decades. Under the hood sits the VK56 VDF, a 5.6-liter V8, making 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. That same engine family powers the Nissan Armada, and it powers the Titan pickup, where in XD form it's rated to tow over 11,000 pounds. This is a truck engine, naturally aspirated, no turbos to fail wearing a luxury suit. It's got 9.2 inches of ground clearance, a real 4-mode terrain management system on the 4-wheel drive models, and an interior that's plush and quiet and genuinely comfortable. It drinks fuel, 15 miles per gallon combined is the honest number, and it feels enormous in a parking garage. Those trade-offs are exactly why it depreciates so hard. Nobody's fault, just the market punishing thirst and size. And that punishment is your opportunity. Now, the buying advice. The very early VK56 VD cars had some reported timing chain and high-pressure fuel pump quirks. So if you want maximum peace of mind, target the 2021 to 2023 model years. Those later trucks earned an 8.3 out of 10 reliability rating from IC Cars, with essentially no significant complaints logged on the major owner tracking sites. A used QX80 from those years can cost about what a new compact crossover does, except you're getting a body-on-frame V8 tank with patrol DNA and a first-class cabin. This is the definition of buying the platform, not the badge. Rich buyers dump these because the resale looked ugly on paper. Smart buyers are quietly scooping up one of the toughest luxury SUVs ever sold for a fraction of its worth. But there's one SUV that's even more overbuilt than the QX80, one that Toyota engineered with a paranoia that borders on obsession, and it's my number one for a reason. Number 1, Lexus LX 570. If I could only recommend one overbuilt luxury SUV to drive for the next 20 years, this is it, and it's not close. The Lexus LX 570 is, quite simply, one of the most durable vehicles ever mass-produced, and the market is finally letting normal people afford it. Let me tell you what overbuilt actually means, because Toyota didn't use that word as a slogan, they used it as an engineering philosophy. The LX 570's 5.7-liter V8, the 3 URFE, was durability tested to the equivalent of 800,000 miles to guarantee nothing would break. When the engines came off the line new, Toyota reportedly X-rayed blocks to check for hidden metallurgical flaws in the cylinder walls. The block castings are thick, the cooling capacity is massive, the tuning is deliberately conservative, 383 horsepower from 5.7 liters, engineered not for bragging rights but for the ability to run at low stress for decades. It's a timing chain, not a belt. There's no turbo to fail. The same engine family lives in the Toyota Tundra, and there's a documented Tundra that crossed 1 million miles on its original engine. And that engine is bolted into a body-on-frame chassis lifted almost directly from the Toyota Land Cruiser 200 series, a vehicle used by aid organizations and militaries in the harshest corners of the world precisely because it refuses to die. Heavy-duty cooling, reinforced driveline, a real ladder frame like a pickup truck. When people say the LX is a luxury Land Cruiser, they're not exaggerating. It's the same overbuilt skeleton wearing a nicer suit. Here's the beautiful part for your wallet. Because it's a Lexus, it depreciates slower than the German competition, losing about 43.6% over 5 years, versus the 50 to 60% free fall of a GLS or an X7. But time still does its work. Older LX570 models from 2008 to 2015 now sell in the neighborhood of $17,000 to $30,000, depending on year and mileage. A 2021 model, one of the last built, might lose around $20,000 over 5 years, which means the market is handing you a nearly new one for a serious discount. You're getting arguably the most reliable luxury SUV ever built at a price the badge should never allow. Is it perfect? No. It's thirsty, mid-teens on a good day. It's not sporty. It leans in corners and steers like the 2.5-ton fortress it is. A handful of owners report minor valve cover oil leaks that can run around $3,000 if they get bad, usually only after a hard heat cycle. But with consistent maintenance and decent fuel, these routinely sail past 200,000 miles without drama, and plenty go far, far beyond. When you shop for one, do 3 things. First, get the service records. This engine rewards owners who change the oil religiously. Second, check the valve cover area and the valley plate for any weeping oil. Third, find one owned by an older buyer who garaged it and drove it gently. Those exist, and they're basically time capsules. Get that combination and you own a vehicle that will very likely outlast anything else in your driveway. So there it is, 6 overbuilt luxury SUVs that rich buyers dumped and the market forgot. The Audi Q7, a Lamborghini cousin for Telluride money if you buy the history. The Porsche Cayenne, genuine supercar pace for economy car cash if you dodge the early V8 engines. The Cadillac Escalade, a Chevy truck in a tuxedo with parts you can actually afford. The BMW X5, one of the best driving SUVs ever made for the price of a base sedan. The Infiniti QX80, a Nissan patrol tank in first-class trim, hemorrhaging value straight into your pocket. And the Lexus LX 570, the overbuilt king, X-rayed and tested to 800,000 miles, the closest thing to a forever car that money can buy used. The whole game with luxury SUVs is simple. Someone else already ate the depreciation, so your only job is to buy the right example. Records, inspection, the good model years. Do that, and you drive 6-figure engineering for a fraction of the price of first price, while the person who bought it new is still crying about the trade-in value. If this saved you from overpaying or from buying the wrong one, hit that subscribe button. I've got a whole video coming on the luxury SUVs that'll bankrupt you no matter how good the deal looks, and you're going to want to see it before you sign anything. Drive smart, buy the history, and let the rich guy's loss be your gain. I'll see you in the next one.